Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me for what is kind of not really a Steam Shuffle. Okay, let's be honest, it's not a Steam Shuffle at all. I just kind of wanted to show off the new track that I made for the intro, and that's the one that I'm using. Today's a little bit different. I know it's been a very long time since I've done any type of content. But there's something that I wanted to talk about today that has been brought to the limelight with a few different games that have been coming out recently. And I'm not going to lie, I'm really pissed off. So this is not going to be so much more... This isn't going to be so much me being objective about the situation. It is. I'm very factual when it comes to these kind of things. But I'm pissed, okay? I am really sick and tired of this. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, I'm referring to loot boxes in video games. Back when... I want to say Advanced Warfare was the first time I encountered loot boxes. And at the time, it wasn't that big of a deal to me. Okay, you got a few cosmetics, you got some weapons in the loot boxes. Like, it wasn't nothing too game-breaking, honestly. It was more different stats on different weapons, and they kind of evened themselves out. There were a few outliers here and there, but really, it wasn't a whole lot. And I was okay with it there. See, for a long time now, we have been in the gaming industry dealing with DLC, dealing with on-disc DLC, dealing with pieces of games cut up and sold to us later on. It's been a very long time, I would say at least since the PlayStation 2 era, that you could go out, you could purchase a game, and that's it. The game is complete, you get what you pay for, and you play the game, and you move on, and you love it. And if it was good enough, then they might make a sequel, and that's how you got more content. I want to first go on record to say that I'm not against DLC. I'm not against DLC in any way, shape, or form, as long as it's done right. If it's something that was made after the fact, if there wasn't necessarily a plan to cut this piece off of a game to sell it back to us later for more money than what we spend, that is when there's a problem. But if it's something like, I'm going to use The Witcher 3 as a shining example of how to do DLC right. The game did fantastic. Later on down the road, here's more content that you've been wanting. Cool, I get more Witcher 3. Awesome. But there are too many examples of how this is not done in this day and age, in this era of gaming, and I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. And the loot box is just another new sleazy mechanic to try to milk us out of money. Oh, but they're still $60 like they used to be 10. Yo, shut the fuck up. Because that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. If anything, that justifies this even more. So you hear that argument a lot, that the whole reason behind loot boxes and DLC is so the developers can make more money because it's more expensive to develop games these days. No, that's bullshit. I wanted to bring a few numbers to your attention here, because the video game industry routinely destroys the film industry in terms of profits, while number of their games per year that surpass the average film budget can be counted on one hand. In other words, a game costs less than a movie to make, and a game makes more money than a movie does. I don't go to the movie theater, sit down in a chair, have to put my credit card into the chair, and then a VR headset comes down on my face, and if I want to change the color of the clothing of the person on the screen, I press a button and spend $5 to do it, okay? The day that happens is the day that we will be living in infamy for the rest of our lives. But as of right now, that's not the case. Games are the only thing that can get away with this kind of practice. And to throw a few numbers at you, just to show you, I'm not talking out of my ass here. You can go look up the sources if you want. I promise they're out there. They're not hard to find. So if you take Avatar, which is the highest grossing movie of all time worldwide, it took $425 million to produce this movie. And the movie made $2.8 billion in revenue. Okay? GTA 5. Not even the most expensive game to ever make. That actually falls to Modern Warfare 2, if you account for marketing. But GTA 5 took $272 million to produce. And this is adjusted for inflation. Okay, this is not how much it was originally when it came out. This is adjusted for inflation. 80 million units have been sold as of right now of GTA 5. If you were to have sold all of them at $60, that is $4.8 billion in revenue. Just from the sales. Just from the sales of the game. Double what the most profitable movie ever created was. And cost half of what it cost to produce that movie. So, even if you lowball this, if you say each game was sold at $30, because there have been sales on GTA 5, that will figure into the 80 million, also being sold in different countries. It's not necessarily going to be $60, but at the same time, I remind you that if you go into Canada, they're usually about $80, not $60, so your mileage may vary on that, but just to lowball it, even if we cut it in half, you're still looking at $2.4 billion, but it costs half the amount that Avatar did to produce. Alright? Now, that's just the sales from the game. Once you start factoring in the shark cards that you can buy in GTA 5 to get the coolest things in the game that cost obscene amounts of money, the amount of revenue that GTA 5 has made skyrockets. Now, GTA 5 is not the worst offender on this list, but not at all. I have my problems with it, that the funnest shit to play with is behind the ability to buy it, but you can earn that in-game over time, and it kind of takes money to make money in that game. But GTA 5 has released multiple updates throughout the years that it's been around, that for completely for free. So all of the different heist, well, not necessarily the heist, but the Motorcycle Club updates, the Smuggler's Run updates, things like that. They have continued supporting the game. They have continued to release shit for free. So GTA 5, not on my shit list for this as much, except the shark cards. My entire point is the amount of money that you make on a video game is ridiculous. Okay? You do not need the additional shit on it to make money from it. Just from the box sales alone, you literally double the cost of the most expensive movie ever made, the most money made on any movie in history. You double it from box sales. Alright? Now let's take into account that you don't have to pay revenue, or excuse me, you don't have to pay royalties on a video game like you do a movie. Your actors have to be paid royalties out of that revenue that you're making. You have to pay taxes that you don't have to pay for making video games. Your voice actors don't make royalties. Your video game developers don't make royalty off these games. So there's even more money to go around when it comes to video game profits than there are for movie profits. And I'm not sold pieces of my movie, alright? What I'm saying is it's greed that is causing this. Plain and simple. There is no need to do this. People want more money and more money and more money. Fine. It's free corporate America. People are willing to buy it. Whatever. But when you start doing shady ass business tactics around it, that's when it pisses me off. Okay? When we come to this argument that there are more games being made in this fashion and that they need this money, why doesn't anyone ever mention the fact that more people buy video games now than they ever have before? If you go back 15 years prior to these practices starting to crop up back in the PS2 era, before we had the advent of the internet being mainstream, there weren't nearly as many people that would buy a game. The game may still be $60 just like they were back then, but there are 3 times the customer base to sell them to at $60. Therefore, when you make that game, you make way more than you would have ever thought of making back then. It's insane. The point is, there's no need for these additional costs. They never needed to do these online microtransactions to stay afloat. Ever. It is corporate greed at its finest. Now again, DLC? Fine. You develop something after the fact that a game was launched that did not originally go with that game because the player base wants more. Awesome. I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with are season passes. You sell $20, $30, $40 season passes to someone because you are already playing, hey, we're going to make more for this game. It's not going to be available at $60 launch. The $60 is the shell at that point. You've already told us the game's not complete. You're going to have to wait a year, give us $100 to even get a complete experience out of the game. That's bullshit, okay? Complete and utter bullshit. One, you don't know if you want that shit in the first place, so the season pass right there is a gimmick in and of itself that you're just buying into, that you may not even want the product that comes out afterwards. You may not want to play that game anymore once the season pass content comes out in the first place. Two, why do they have to cut it up in pieces like that, okay? Do you honestly think that this isn't planned from the start? If they wanted to, they could have included those things in the game from launch, but they don't. It's almost like AAA early access, if you will. You get the shell for $60. They already know that not everything is in the game, and later on that you get this other pieces for $10, $15 a pop, unless you spend $40 on the season pass, so you get a slight discount there. So now our games aren't $60 anymore, they're $100. Alright? So that's bullshit. I can deal with season passes. I just choose not to buy them. I just wait until the stuff comes out. If I want it, I buy it. If I don't, I don't. I can ignore the season pass. It doesn't affect my gameplay. It doesn't really affect others, except for when they start splitting the communities, but that's besides the point. So let's get on to the new craze. These fucking loot crates that are everywhere now. I would say Overwatch was not the first one by any means, but Overwatch is more to blame, I feel, than any other product that really evangelized the loot boxes. And here's the thing, the way Overwatch did it, I'm okay with. I may not be the biggest fan of it, simply for the fact that it's kind of difficult to get the pieces that I want, that I have to wait on RNG bullshit to get the skins that I want and get the items that I want, but it's acceptable for one very clear reason, because it does not affect gameplay. It does not affect gameplay in any way, shape, or form. The day that happens is the day I will change my tune on that. But as of right now, I see nothing wrong with cosmetics in video games. And that if they come in loot boxes, so be it. Yeah, it's kind of shitty that you can't buy the one you want, a la League of Legends style, or what many other games out there that have the same business model that have the cosmetic rewards. So it comes in a loot box. Fine. I like Overwatch loot boxes. Not the best thing in the world, but I can deal with it. And that game, mind you, when launched, was only $40 fucking dollars, not $60. And Overwatch being an exception because it had to recoup a lot of things. Overwatch had so much going up against it because of how many resources were sunk into Titan that then failed, and they had to turn it into Overwatch. And so that's a little bit different. They did actually need to recoup a little bit. I'm not a Blizzard fanboy, though, okay? I will tell you that. The fact that they're now putting loot boxes in StarCraft, the fact that the Blizzard is now putting loot boxes in Heroes of the Storm, fuck them, alright? I'm getting tired of the damn loot boxes because they're everywhere at this point. They made sense in Hearthstone because those are card packs, okay? That's kind of what it's supposed to be. A loot box, for all intents and purposes, is a card pack. It's a booster pack in a fucking trading card game. It doesn't belong in my shooters. Overwatch, I'm alright with. Cosmetic, fine. But now, we have Shadow of War that's doing loot boxes. Shadow of War also has massive pieces of game content that are stuck behind further currency. Is it required to enjoy the game, to beat the game? Not necessarily, but that's not the fucking point. The point is, you put it in the game. What is stopping you from making that part of the game insanely grindy to entice people to buy the loot boxes? Because that's how it typically works. I haven't had a chance to play Shadows of War yet, so I will withhold my judgment on that until that time comes, until they prove otherwise. But it would be a bit odd not to do that, because that's kind of par for the course. And while I'm on that point, just as a side note here, why would you ever want to develop a part of your game that's designed to make people want to pay to skip it? That's kind of just shitty gameplay. You're intentionally making your game shitty so someone will pay more money to skip that part of the game. That's just shitty fucking game design. But I digress. The newest culprit that I have a huge fucking problem with, and it's really upsetting me, is Battlefront 2. Star Wars Battlefront 2. This fucking game has the audacity to put free-to-play elements in their game pay to win. This is, by definition, a pay-to-win game. Based on the beta of this game, it was already kind of like this in Battlefield 1, but not nearly as egregious as this, okay? So, what you have are these power-up cards. And these power-up cards inherently make your player more powerful, your hero more powerful, your class more powerful, what have you, regardless. And you get them in, you fucking guessed it, loot boxes that you can purchase with real money, or you can grind currency to get them. And let me tell you, the currency grind to get one fucking loot box takes about 2.5 to 3 hours, regardless of your skill at the game, because you get the same amount of fucking currency if you get 40 kills versus you getting 1 kill. So about 2.5 hours. Bear in mind that can change by the time the full game comes out, but I highly fucking doubt it. We are talking about EA here. And these cards are not just like 1%, 2%, 3% increases, okay? Which would be bad enough. Because you have player A that grinds for 10 hours to get it, or you have Johnny Moneybags over here that spends $20 and gets it immediately. No, these are not small increases. These are huge. The most egregious ones that I can think of currently is going to be Boba Fett. Boba Fett has a jetpack jump that he can do, okay? And the level 1, because there's 4 levels to these abilities, mind you, level 1 of this jump pack, when you do it, reduces your damage taken by 50%. Level 4 of this ability reduces your damage taken by 100%. Now, there are 2 ways you can get to level 4 in this fucking God mode. You can, A, get it lucky in these loot boxes and it automatically drops. Like, you get level 4 right off the bat because you can get anywhere between 1 through 4 in these drops. Option 2, you use scrap, which is the currency of the game other than credits that buy the loot boxes. This is a second currency. You use scrap to upgrade it, and the scrap takes egregious amounts. Like, the amount you get in a loot box never is any more than 20, unless you get I'm not even sure if you get more for a duplicate or not, because I didn't have enough time in the beta to tell you. But regardless, it takes a long fucking time to get it, okay? So that scrap also is used to buy new weapons and buy mods for your weapons. So you're torn between these two power struggles. You also can get those items in loot boxes as well. So this is the fucking problem. If I have enough money, I just go buy the loot boxes. I get every fucking weapon in the game. I get every power up in the game with money. And that power translates into online multiplayer. And this power is fucking huge. If I can have God mode as Boba Fett, do you think I'm going to do a little bit better as Boba Fett than Johnny I paid only my $60 to play the fucking game and have no skills for him unlocked? Fuck yes I am. I am going to murder people for the first at least 1 to 2 months until people start unlocking things. The people who drop the most money are going to be the ones that win. And that's fucking ridiculous. That's not just through the ground combat either, mind you. This is also for the space battles. And the space battles are arguably even worse because the power increases on the items that you get there. This is bullshit, man. I already spent $60 on this fucking game that now has a free-to-play model in it at the same time with completely blatant power boosts that you can purchase from the fucking game. They are putting every single sleazy fucking business tactic that they can think of behind this. You've got loot boxes, you've got paid DLC, you're gonna have fucking season passes. It took a year before the first Battlefront was in the playable complete state. I guarantee you this is gonna be the same way. And the reason they can do it is because it's fucking Star Wars. And normally I wouldn't be this upset about it. But the problem is the game is fucking gorgeous. The sound assets are second to none. And I want to play the damn thing. But I'm not going to. I will not purchase this game. I will not be purchasing Shadows of War. I may purchase Shadows of War once it goes on sale at least 50% off. Because I'm not paying $60 for a fucking game that I have to pay more for later on to get the real fucking ending. But I will not be buying Star Wars in its current state. Period. That is the only way that we can combat these sleazy fucking game tactics. Is to not give them our money. The problem is people will. Because it is a decent game. I was getting better at it. I didn't quite like it at first, but I was willing to play it. But now I'm not. I won't do this. Myself, as well as the rest of the Rage guys, they will not be buying it either. Now, that may not seem like a lot. In the grand scheme of things, it's not in any way, shape, or form. It's maybe $300 on that base price. But one, that's $300 that you're not fucking getting from us. And two, we're not supporting a business model that takes advantage of people, that uses psychological tactics of gambling and greed to make money off of them. Because I guarantee you, when you're sitting there and you get your ass owned by the Boba Fett who has the 100% God mode ability, you're going to want that God mode ability too. Because now you're pissed. Now you're dying to it over and over again. And then you're either going to stop playing the game in frustration, which doesn't help anybody, or you're going to fucking break. And you're going to end up spending the money to buy the fucking loot boxes so you can beat the guy too, because you want to be at the same fucking playing field. Even in Titanfall 2, the power-up cards that you get only last for one game. They're consumables. They're not for the whole fucking game, for the people who are the whales that are gonna drop $500, $600, $700 on these fucking loot boxes. Which I guarantee you is gonna be the amount of money it's gonna take to get everything unlocked. Or you're going to spend ungodly amounts of time playing just to unlock these things. You're looking at thousands of hours to unlock this shit, to play it and get it without spending the money. That's the fucking problem. That is not acceptable in a $60 game. You're out of your goddamn mind. This is the same thing that mobile games have done for years. The only difference is the mobile games are fucking free in the first place. And they're definitely not Star Wars. Well, I mean, there are the Star Wars ones, and people spin out the fucking ass for the Star Wars games. And they're going to on this one. But I won't be. I won't be buying this one. I won't be buying Shadows of War unless it's drastically reduced in price. And I probably won't even be buying Destiny 2 at this point, because Destiny 2 is doing the same shit with their die packs, and I think you can even buy exotics on that one. I'm not 100%. I don't do console. I only do PC. But I have heard that may be the case. And I am sick and tired of it. I'm not going to support these fucking loot boxes anymore. If a game puts them in, I'm just going to do my best to avoid it, which sucks because there are some good fucking games out there that are probably going to go to this system because it's working. And it shouldn't be fucking working. It was bad enough to deliberately make your game shitty to entice people to pay to skip it. It was bad enough to split your fucking player base a la Battlefield with multiple map packs, because that's still a fucking thing to do. But now you're going to tap into the psychology of gambling and addictive personalities to make more fucking money off of people when it's not necessary, when you don't need the money, when it's corporate fucking greed to do it. That's the whole basis behind it. It's not like these motherfuckers are going poor, okay? It's not like they can't afford their goddamn rent. They make twice as much money as half the fucking blockbuster movies that get put out these days. It's ridiculous, it's sickening, and I will do everything I can to have no part of it. I would love to, I might even end up doing this, making a curator page to flag any game on Steam that uses loot boxes to help people avoid it and try to find games that are actually worth it. It's pretty fucking sad when you've got a $20 release in Cuphead that's actually complete and it's a wonderful game that was made by 3 fucking people, yet you got shit like this that just tries to suck every fucking dime they can out of every player base they can get their greedy little fingers on. And I, for one, am fucking done with it. My name has been Asher. If you'd like more content from me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Until then, I'll see you guys next time.